And we are going to go live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good afternoon, guys, and I'm Gods, bringing you some WDC World Dota Championships in China. Just finished a couple of weeks ago, I believe it was, and bringing you some Dota replay analysis here from a couple of the matches. I'm going to be doing 3 or 4 of these sort of shows where we have a little look at some of the strategies used by a few of the teams and how effective they were, how they sort of how the current metagame in Dota is looking, specifically in China, because it was a Chinese tournament, and it was predominantly Chinese tournaments. Anyways, we're going to get right into it. I'm Gods from Gamers, and I'm going to be doing this, uploading everything to my YouTube channel, so youtube.com/GodStudios. Please follow me. Anyways, we're going to get right into our first game, not wasting any time. Basically, we're going to I'll talk you through what exactly is going on as we get into this draft, and we will be getting right into it. First up, we've got one of these semi-finals. We're going to be looking at Nirvana.cn or Nirvana.MSI, whatever you want to call them, up against Panda. So we're going to get right into that game, guys. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Gods. I'm from Gamers. I also play for Team Natural 9, which is a top Australian pro Dota 2 team, and for Team Joy in Dota 1, we're a sort of semi-pro team. We are looking to go to SMM later this year, so which is SMM in 1 week's time. It hasn't been confirmed, so the fact it's in 1 week and hasn't been confirmed, who knows if it's happening. Anyways, guys, I'm going to go right into this game before I get too off topic, and here we go. Semi-final number 1, Nirvana MSI versus Panda. We're going to get right into this, guys. So for those of you who don't know, WDC in China, there was I think consisted of a group stage which had 4 teams in 4 different groups. Moving on from there, the top 2 teams from each group advanced into the playoffs. Basically, the top team from one group versus second place from another group. Single elimination playoff, then became best of 3. So on the Sentinel side, we've got Nirvana, MSI. Yeah, they are using MSI. Nothing too surprising there. They've got King J, who many of you have heard of, Banana, Seeking, who is their sort of star carry player. We've got Gwei and L. On the Scourge team, that is Panda. We've got Hayabus A, Pan, Mew, Yaobai, and Howie. Panda are sort of a lesser known team of players. They've got, obviously players who've been around for a while, but this team has sort of just recently come into the spotlight as being one of the actual competitors, as one of the top Chinese teams. To see them, they're already in this tournament. They're here at the semi-finals, so they've obviously done very, very well. And they are sort of one of the new upcoming teams. With regards to this show, let's see, what we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at providing sort of analysis on the sort of more in-depth strategies used, specifically starting with the bans, the picks, what they ban, what they pick, why they do it, and then once the games get started playing, we're not going to be doing sort of live shoutcasting, like describing what's going on. It's going to be more focused on the decision making. What is a good decision for what team, what they do well, what they do poorly, and as these are 2 of the best teams in the world, obviously there's going to be very little they do poorly. It's going to come down to how they react to the others, who sort of out-strategizes their opponents. So that's why it's going to be more analytical, because when you have 2 of the most refined Dota teams, I mean, they've trained for so many hours a day, they're not going to make too many actual mechanical errors. They may have some questionable decision making when they have to take risks. We'll talk about why sometimes you have to make risks if you are behind. But anyways, there are a lot of reasons where you will get into a position where you have to take risks and maybe make bad decisions, or which you'll make these decisions which can have a high gain but are very risky, and more often than not will fail. But depending on the position you are in, sometimes these decisions are necessary. And initially we will be looking at the picks, the bans. How does the current metagame look like in China with regards to top picks? And we are seeing a few of the bans coming out right away here. I'm just going to speed this up a little. I'm going to put on, actually that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put on a little overlay just so you can't see how long is left in the replay, because that's never any fun. So bear with me as I do get a little overlay on top. Ooh, mini overlay things, that sounds about right. This one's too bright. This one will do, however, don't go there. I don't use Twitch TV anymore. Don't do it, guys. You'll regret it. Well, no, you won't regret it. There'll just be nothing there. Anyways, I'm God, so that'll work. back to this game before we do get too sidetracked. Bans underweight here. We're going to have a little talk about the bans. How bans actually work. I mean, you're not necessarily banning the most imber heroes all the time. You have to consider that if you're first pick, you want to leave some of those. I mean, at least try and work around some of those sort of stronger heroes that actually fit into your strategies. Whether that's the Invoker you like to use, the Lycan you like to use, the Shadow Demon, you may not see them banning them. Here we have Nirvana with the first pick. We're gonna go 1 speed. We're gonna just pause it quickly. So they ban Windrunner, Invoker, and Brood. 2 of those heroes definitely not first pick material. The Windrunner, the Brood, you will very rarely be seen getting first picked by any team. So obviously not banning heroes that they're likely to first pick. The Invoker, definitely a top pick and is first pick material, although it has been losing a lot. If you watch the recent EG versus World Elite games, WE games, which was in the Hao Feng Golden League or whatever it's called, the one that Luminous covers for MYMTV, Invoker lost all 3 games. It was not banned in any of the games. It was picked in all 3, and every game it actually lost. So it has been somewhat out of the spotlight as of late as one of the most imber heroes. It used to be considered absolutely ridiculously imber, but it got nerfed a bit, and it still was banned, but now it's just sort of people realizing, hey, we can deal with it. The metagame has shifted so that it's not quite as powerful because people just won't confront. It's all about the Tornado EMP mostly, and people just won't confront the Invoker. They'll also get a couple Arcane Boots, which kind of negates the EMP largely. If you have at least 2 heroes with Arcane Boots, you'll have 1 hero with Mech, so you can heal up afterwards as well. So Invoker has become less popular, but it can be still ban worthy, and if it doesn't get banned, you will be seeing it get picked up in most games. On the Scourge team, that's where you're going to see the more top picks being banned basically the first pick material, the imber heroes being banned, or not so much the imber heroes, but the heroes that have become top key heroes in the Chinese metagame, because this is 2 Chinese teams versus each other. Those 2 key heroes at the moment, Shadow Demon and Lycanthrope, both just absolutely massive picks. Lycan just fits in so well to the metagame, a great aggressive carry that can push down towers. It's pretty easy to make him get farm, and he doesn't need too many items. The Shadow Demon, just one of those heroes that is just ridiculously strong because of all the way his skills come together, and he can fit into any lineup as well. Puck is a bit of an unusual pick, maybe targeting Nirvana because they like to use that hero. I'm not, as far as the Puck ban's concerned, it is a bit unusual, but it is one of those heroes you will see get picked up fairly frequently just because of how versatile and mobile it is, and it's another hero that will fit into any lineup, and it doesn't need much farm. That's the beauty of Puck, is that it doesn't need much farm. Anyways, moving on. We're going to unpause this, get playing. Batrider was first pick. Okay, let's talk about the first pick here. Batrider, I'm not surprised. Well, I think their decision here, they go with the Batrider first pick or the Lich. It sort of depends how they want to style their lineup. Lich is so strong because of the Dark Ritual. It's basically a broken skill, but the fact that he doesn't have any other super strong skills, he doesn't have any stuns, he's got a really nice ultimate, but he doesn't have any other ridiculously strong skills, makes him not completely overpowered, but it's just this one skill which is just broken, being able to deny 1 creep from every creep wave, denying 25% of an opposing hero's farm is just ridiculously strong. But Batrider is one of those heroes that just causes problems for any lineup. He can fit into any lineup. We'll probably see him going in a solo lane, although he can do a dual lane. Even with something like a Lich Batrider dual lane, they can go into that hard lane up top, which is why Lich is just so popular, because Lich can solo the hard lane, can solo mid if you really want, which is something you won't see because you're more likely to see an AA or Batrider there because they can benefit more from that experience. It can solo the top lane, or it can be played as a hard support, so you can lane it with an anti-mage or a void, any kind of hard carry in this safe bottom lane. So definitely a very versatile hero, which is why it's just such a first pick worthy hero. What's interesting is the fact that Panda did not pick up the Lich. I'd say I'm quite surprised they didn't pick up the Lich. I'm going to pause it here after the 3 picks. I'm quite surprised they didn't first pick that Lich. Sorry, well, first or second pick. Pick it with their first 2 pick. They went for the Weaver and the ES. I think it's partly because of the Batrider first pick and not wanting. They know that the Batrider is a great initiator. Lich is probably not going to fare too well in the mid game up against the Batrider. He's going to basically be phased out and be sort of limited in what he can do. And I think just the fact that the way Batrider lanes can really mess up with the Lich, and Lich is sort of, I mean, it is first pick worthy, because as I said, it can fit into any lineup, and Panda could have worked into their lineup, but they obviously have something else in mind, picking up the Earthshaker, which is another hero which is very strategically important, and the Chinese teams do love to pick it, because I mean, largely early game, it can lane sort of anywhere, and it is just used to back up a farmer with that fissure. It's all about the fissure. People kind of categorize Earthshaker into the category where you farm a Blink Dagger and you do the Blink ulti combo, which gets kill after kill. But no, that's not why Earthshaker is so good. It's all about Fissure. Fissure is his bread and butter skill. Even in the mid game, even in the late game, Fissure is the skill that Earthshaker, it's his most important skill. A lot of the time you won't be getting a fast Blink Dagger, you're just going to be relying on that Fissure. It can set up kills, it can save allies, it can create openings where you block. I mean, you're either blocking teammates or doing it just works wonders because of the way it can just create some great positioning. So that's the reasoning behind the Earthshaker pick early on. And we've a useful hero that does work with the Earthshaker because of how mobile it is and can move around, and it doesn't easily get killed by a Batrider. I mean, obviously he can windwalk. If Batrider blinks at him, he can windwalk before the lasso actually goes off, which is does make him fairly strong against that. Gonna just click IRC because I've got some queries. What is going on? You should be able to see the picks, guys. Alright, so we're going to go back. We're not going to go back, but it should be fine now. As far as I can see, it should be fine. Anyways, we're going to continue. Apparently there was, it was just my little screen overlapping with it. So, moving on. So, we're going to see the Ancient Apparition and Lich being picked up by Nirvana.MSI. What have they got in mind here? I think picking up both the AA and the Lich is a bit ambitious. I mean, you have two squishy intel heroes, both who aren't very mobile, don't have much ganking potential, and that's going to create a lot of opportunities for Panda to take control of this game, especially early on. And if they can't move around too well, they're going to be relying a lot on their carry heroes. Basically going to rely a lot on getting their carry heroes farmed and not actually moving around. And they don't have much pushing capabilities either. So these two heroes are very limited in what they can do. And I love what Panda have done picking up this Clockwork Third. It's going to create a lot of opportunities for them to get kills. The way the Chinese metagame works at the moment is that when you leave your lane, you're not actually looking for kills, you're looking for opportunities to push or to defend a push, and you're only going to leave your lane if you can get a sure kill. Clockwork is one of those heroes that can get sure kills, especially combined with an ES Fissure. It keeps on pausing on me whenever I tab her. With the ES Fissure, the Weaver with his mobility, Clockwork Hookshot is one of those few heroes that can get 100% kills when he leaves his lane. If you're a solo mid-bat, if you go to try and gank somewhere, I mean, they see you coming. If you haven't got that Blink Dagger, you're not going to be looking at sure kills. But Clockwork is great for getting sure kills, and following a sure kill, you can get a tower, and obviously pushing down towers, getting that global gold is essential for getting ahead. So a very, very nice third pick coming out from Panda there, and really liking how their lineups come together. They haven't picked anything I would have thought they'd picked. I mean, the Lich was definitely one of those heroes I would have expected them to pick up early, but when I look at these 3 heroes versus 3 heroes, I think Panda has an advantage, and there's more they can do with their lineup, whereas Nirvana, they're going to be playing on the back foot, and they're going to have to really react to whatever Panda do here. And I imagine they're going to pick up some kind of hard carry. I mean, I think their lineup is going to be built around a hard carry of something. I can't remember what these drafts end up with. I know who the winner is. I don't know how this game happens. I haven't seen this replay at all, guys. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm being completely unbiased here, at least as unbiased as possible. As we do get into this second ban stage, we're going to see the Spectre, the Pugna, Obscene Destroyer being banned. Obscene Destroyer is one of those heroes that did become very, very popular here at WDC. It got picked in probably like maybe a third of the games almost, which is pretty ridiculously high considering how many heroes are in Dota at the moment. And it's no surprise seeing it there, because I think having an OD as the sort of main carry, soloing the mid lane, or even in the top lane with Weaver as the secondary, the number 2 spot, could have actually worked out quite well for this Scourge team. So fairly nice decision to ban the OD. Banning the CK and Spectre is interesting. I mean, obviously, as said, Nirvana have not got a hard carry yet. They were going to be going for something. The Spectre, the CK, the two that Panda were most scared of. CK is a hero that has been used a bit more recently, and I think Nirvana have actually used it themselves a couple of times, which is maybe why Panda banned it. But we do see immediately that Void was picked up by Nirvana.MSI, which makes me think they had this in mind. They want to do what looks to be a Lich Void lane, because Lich is the sort of best support they have. You can do an AA support, but whether that's going to be the case, I mean, what I'm actually thinking, I mean, they're going to be doing dual lane, so I think we're going to see a Lich, a Lich dual lane top maybe. I'm not too sure when we're going to be seeing. I'm going to wait and see, guys. As soon as we do get towards the end of this, it does sort of pull together and become clear to me usually. But we do see a Prophet being picked up by Panda, and that is going to add so much to their global ganking power. They've got the Clockwork who can get sure kills with the hookshot, the rockets which can go anywhere on the map. You have a Prophet who can TP anywhere on the map. His ultimate is global as well, and that is some fantastic thing. And there's a Witch Doctor. Okay, this makes sense now, guys. Witch Doctor is going to be their support here for bottom. As said, the beauty of the Lich is that you can put him in those tough lanes and he can beat a hard lane with that Dark Ritual. So we're going to see him going top. I'm pretty much sure we're going to see Lich going top lane with either the Ancient Apparition or the Bat Rider, depending on who they want to have go solo the mid lane. I imagine they may actually want the AA mid to get the solo XP and get that level 6 ultimate coming up into play early, because you can send that ultimate around to get some nice early kills. Where Bat Rider level 6, you still want him farming that Blink Dagger to get an early Blink Dagger. I'm going to just pause as we do see the last bit coming out. So I'm predicting an Ancient Apparition mid with Lich and Bat at top, and the Witch Doctor protecting the Void in that bottom lane. And we do see last pick after that Prophet is the Tinkers. So what are Panda doing here? They are doing sort of a global strat, not so much the sort of Spectre, not so much this global ulti strat, but heroes that can be anywhere on the map at any time. Prophet can TP anywhere. Clockwork can really hookshot. I mean, he can get somewhere very quickly with hookshot. Tinker can boot to teleport around, and then you have the Earthshaker, who isn't so much as mobile, but he's got a long range fissure, so he can come out of fog. He doesn't have to be seen on the map to actually have an impact, which is sort of the beauty of this hero, is that you can have a big impact, use that fissure while not being seen, so the enemy you can just remain in fog. The enemy doesn't actually know where you are most of the time. As for the Weaver, just going to be sort of their primary farmer and carry here. He's not going to be looking to get ridiculous farm, because they've got some nice. They're going to be focusing more on getting some kills, getting an early advantage, and really liking how this Panda is what looks to be a fairly aggressive lineup. And as said, Nirvana are going to have to be the ones reacting, and I think there's going to be a lot of pressure put on all their heroes, not just the Void. I mean, they don't actually have to pressure the Void. They can just if they can kill the other heroes, even if Void gets a Battle Fury up or whatever item he goes for quickly, it's not going to matter if the rest of the heroes have been feeding and getting lots of deaths. So I think no matter what Panda do, they just have to be aggressive and make sure that they keep the pressure on the Sentinel team. And we are going to see Bat Rider immediately hang out bottom with the Void. I think that's just doing some scouting, and AA, all 5 heading bottom. So this is something you'll see fairly often, is that they do stick together. There's no point going to your lane. If you're you may as well go bottom altogether, because, well, if you find a hero there, you want to be as 5 when you can just he'll make it top. I imagine Lich will head top to make sure he gets that first creep deny as fast as possible, but to start off with, he will be going bottom, and he'll time his return back to this top lane so that he's there just as the creep is born. I could be wrong, but I'd like to think he's going to get there not to miss any Dark Ritual action if he is in fact going to be going to that top lane, which I can't see Void going top. Void has to be bottom. Witch Doctor makes much more sense as the support for Void. You're not going to see a Witch Doctor AA. Witch Doctor just does a lot better at bottom lane because he is quite vulnerable to being ganked. And we do see a Clockwork Rocket actually finding these heroes, which is fairly important, because now Clockwork knows where these heroes are. He can get a better idea of their lanes. I mean, he's not going to know perfectly because the entire Sentinel team was here, but at this point, Panda know they're going to have a Void at bottom with the Witch Doctor. They might have to guess who's going to be mid, whether it's the AA or Bat Rider. But either way, they're going to be happy sending Tinker mid against either of those opponents. And it is going to be the Ancient Apparition going to that mid lane, played by King J. So King J is going to be looking to get that quick level 6 and send that basically to the side lane looking for kills. That's going to be how Nirvana get their kills, is with this Ancient Apparition ultimate. He's probably not going to leave the mid lane much, but he can send that ultimate anywhere on the map whenever it is on cooldown. And with a Bat Rider Lich, I mean, if the ulti hits on something like an Earthshaker, you can kill it. If the ulti hits on Clockwork, maybe the Void Witch Doctor can get a kill there. So we're going to turn this sound down, because that is too loud for me. I don't know if it's too loud for you guys, but it's too loud for me, so hopefully you guys can deal. We do see some warding at top. We're going to talk a bit about the wards, because those are important as well. A lane ward here, just so you know exactly the positioning of these heroes, even more important against a dual lane. You'll do it against a solo hero, you definitely do it against a dual lane here. And ES Weaver at top against Lich Bat Rider. As said, the Dark Ritual is just a broken skill, and as a result, the Lich Batrider should do fairly well and get some nice farm, but what is going to come into play here is this creep pull. They can creep pull this back, double stack it so that they can deny some, and I believe we will see either Earthshaker or possibly just the Furion doing that, as Furion actually just going to be doing some juggling of his own. He's actually stacked this at level 1, which is something which interests me, as I play Furion a bit myself, and I'd never stack this level 1 because it's just so ridiculously hard to kill. I don't know if he meant to do that or what he actually did with his first treants. It looks like he has got treants because he cut down these 2 treants, but I'm not actually sure what. Oh, he's looking to trap them, I believe. I think he tried to sprout them. I'm mystified, guys. I'm completely mystified what this Prophet is actually doing with his jungling methods. I'm going to keep a close eye on him to see exactly how he gets levels and does this unique level 1 sprout jungling, which is something I haven't seen before. Mid lane, we've got AA versus Tinker. Not going to watch that lane too much, because unless one of them makes a big mistake, there shouldn't be any kills there. AA will have a slight lasting advantage. As you can see, he's about double Tinker's CS now, which is actually as bad as it sounds. 7 CS to 3 CS. Well, 8 to 4, so that, I mean, AA will do slightly better because you can use the cold feet. When you cold feet, Tinker has to back, and he may miss a couple CSs, may miss a deny. And top lane, here we go. Prophet actually comes in with a sprout fairly early. Lich obviously does have Tangos ready and will Tango out immediately from the sprout. But Prophet using up a lot of mana there, and he's got these 3 clarities, but as I said, hasn't gone for treants, so he's going to have to be using this creep pull, I believe, to actually get any levels. So this is new to me, how this Prophet is actually being played, and something which I'm quite interested in following. I want to see some more games of them using this Prophet, or depending how this goes, it could completely epically fail. As I think I know the result. As I said, I know the result, but I'm not sure if I do. I'm kind of like second guessing myself who actually won this game. Anyways, we're going to be looking at bottom lane a little bit. We see sentries on this Witch Doctor, so he's going to be using those to do a bit of dewarding maybe. The Scourge team don't actually have any wards at bottom, so it will just be for future dewarding. I'm not quite sure whether he started off with those. I don't know if I actually checked his inventory at level 1, so I don't know if he started off with those. We see bottle up on Ancient Apparition, so that's AA saying, I'm going to be competing for it. He definitely had to get a bottle, because as said, Nirvana, they're heroes, they're not mobile, they can't move around the map, they can't, which means they can't really rune control, and if Tinker's getting every single rune, he's going to be getting regen, constantly regen, and, well, here we see gank at middle. Prophet tipping in as well, and we are going to see some bottle up. Even the south, the nice little sprout will be enough here, and Ears with the first blood. So, a smart gank there. We do see at level 2, Prophet getting the teleport, so not really jungling in a sense with going treants. He wanted to be able to gank from the start, and if there was an opening for a kill, especially at mid, where Tinker's early game is crucial. Tinker has to have a good early game, so Prophet said, well, I don't mind if I'm not farming, by not farming, I mean not getting treants. If you got treants, you could farm a lot faster. But Prophet having a good early game, or Tinker having a good early game, it's much more important that Tinker has a good early game. So he got the teleport and sprout at level 1 and 2, and he's going to be using that to actually get that first spot on middle lane. And that is going to really hurt the AA a lot. And force, well, as we see, Witch Doctor is coming mid to help out already, which is partly because of that first blood. As I was saying before, AA getting a bottle, which is interesting, not really interesting, but definitely necessary with his lineup, because none of his team, Witch Doctor isn't very mobile. We do see Witch Doctor getting that bottom rune, helping out a bit there, but none of their heroes are very mobile and good at stopping runes. And Fissure Block at top, Lich can have to tango around, but immediately the sprout, and the next tango does not get him out, so it gets taken out, and Tinker coming in with a rocket there, so this is just one of those lanes where the Lich Barrow have to play so safe, and any slight misstep like that, where you see Lich went into that jungle, I think, looking to just do a little, basically, because they were actually neuting here. I think Lich wanted to just steal some of those neutrals, but he basically paid for it. He got caught out, and it's one of those things, as a Lich in this top lane, you want to keep the wave at your tower, which you can do with Dark Ritual. However, you can't do it if they're creep pulling. If they're neutral pulling. If they're pulling these neutrals, it makes it really hard to keep it at tower. So, Lich getting a bit frustrated there, thinking he can poke his head out there and maybe steal a neutral, does pay for it. And Definitely a mistake there by him. I think you just have to be patient. You have to accept that they're going to push out the wave and just hug your tower. You're just going to, even when the wave's up here, you still have to hug your tower. If there's 3, or in that situation there was 4 at top, because Tinker came all the way top, and we see Tinker going for boots instead of bottle. So he sees AA getting bottle and says, I'm not going to bother with my own, I'm going to go for boots. And that's partly because he is versing an AA, so getting out of that cold feet is definitely one of their priorities against an AA. You don't want to get caught in that, especially if a hero like Lich comes to gank with a Frost Nova that's going to be added slow on top of you. You really need any movement speed you can get to make sure you escape from it. So strategically speaking, getting those boots first on Tinker is fairly useful, and against a 600 range hero, you're actually not going to be using much. As you see, Tinker's at 400 mana. Because he's versing a 600 range hero, he's not going to be getting in range to use many lasers, and if he does, he's going to be getting basically attacked back in return every single time. So Tinker now with boots and bottle, AA with the same. So they are on par, 24 CS to 18 CS, but the 1 death on the AA basically is going to level those two out, and those two are on par. So enough of those guys. At bottom lane, how is Void doing? He should be free farming more or less. 45 CS on Seeking. So yeah, that's Seeking. 46 CS, highest in the game by far. And that is going to be a worry for Panda at the moment. Well, not so much a worry, but definitely something they're going to have to deal with, where they can deal with it with their aggression by pushing towers, by being really hyperactive in ganking, just really getting involved in many continuous ganking with both Prophet and Clockwork. We do see Clockwork at bottom is only level 3, and that is going to be a worry, because until he gets at level 6, he cannot go off and do too much. He just has to stay at this bot lane, hope it pushes out. But when they have this opening to this neutral pool, it's going to be very hard for the wave to actually push out to him and for him to get levels. Which is why Clockwork as a solo bottom has actually been phased out a lot. So what Panda are doing here is a bit of an outdated strategy. Having a 2-1-1, or not so much the 2-1-1 with a jungler, but the side lane solo going up against a tough lane as a Clockwork. Normally you'd see something like a Brood there, maybe a Windrunner, something with a bit more escape mechanism, something that can actually stay in lane and compete, and not just struggle for any sort of XP. Even something like a Batrider you may be seeing. Well, I mean, a Batrider or a Lich as a side lane solo. I mean, obviously this game they actually were both together in the dual lane, but both of those probably a bit more capable than a Clockwork of soloing that side lane. As we see, Clockwork very, very under level. He's going to have to find some time to catch up, and Void is not going to be leaving this bottom lane anytime soon. Has Tread Stout Shield, 55 CS, and is one of those heroes that doesn't want to leave the lane. Mid lane, completely missed. Prophet, ES, and Tinker pick up another kill, and that's that Prophet's mobility. And we do see ES with the boot for early. Boot's going to give him make it a lot easier for him to get in position for those good fissures. So really smart item choices from these heroes. The boots on the ES, and Prophet going for an Urn, which is a very support-oriented item, not going for anything like a Midas or any sort of farmer build, but going for the you get added damage in a gank with that as well. So a sort of a support ganker, which is kind of the role he's playing at the moment. That Urn is going to be fairly useful. You can get the added sort of there we go, 150 damage nuke. In any gank, and then after the kill, if he gets that down to 0, he'll suddenly go up to 2. So one of the key things is to save 1 charge, because when you save 1 charge, you use it in a gank, you get a kill, and then you get 2 charges. It goes from 0 to 2. It doesn't go up by 1 if you're on 0 charges. It goes from 0 to 2, which is, I'm not sure. I think it's somewhat intended. I'm not sure if it's entirely intended. I'm sure Icefall could fix it if he wants. But basically, you get 2 charges, then you can use 1 to heal, and then save the next one for a nuke. So every time you get a kill, you also get a heal, and you still have a charge for your next nuke. Bottom lane, we do see Void pick up a kill with that first ultimate. Prophet coming in as well, and Witch Doctor in a lot of trouble here. Prophet really moving around the map very well, and Void is going to be forced back. And this is a great way that they're going to deal with this Void. It's going to be with this Tinker. If Tinker gets that boost of teleport, even before he gets boost of teleport, those nukes do a lot of damage to a low HP hero like Void, especially Laser, which is pure damage. So magic resistance doesn't really matter. I believe he can backtrack it though, because I think you can backtrack just about anything. But as a result, once he gets his boost of teleport, basically he can just TP to the lane where Void is farming, spam a laser rocket combo, rearm, spam another rocket, and then teleport back, and Void's going to be sort of on red HP, and Obviously, when you're in red HP as a Void, you have to be careful against a Tinker, because if Tinker can TP back in after TPing back to Fountain and take him out, not to mention heroes like Prophet who can ultimate and TP in for those kills. So we are going to see Prophet. What has he done? He's brought these golems all the way around. I think using the sprout. I think he actually brought them down this ramp and sprouted here. So they're now going all the way around. This is definitely abusing the AI somewhat here. So very, very interesting Prophet play here. And we are going to see it mid. Tinker will get caught out here. Going to go down for sure. Witch Doctor going to get very low. Actually does get taken out by a Clockwork Rocket, and not to mention Lich. So this is where these squishy Nirvana heroes, as said, Nirvana, they're going to be the ones reacting to any aggression from Panda. And when you're the ones reacting, you don't want heroes like Lich, AA, Witch Doctor. These heroes are just squishy, and as the reactors, the ones who are going to be counter-ganking, you want the heroes like the Earthshaker, even just heroes that are tanky. I mean, look at heroes like Panda and Brewmaster, who have actually become common and in the Chinese metagame. Those are the kind of heroes you want in a situation like this. And as far as your support heroes are concerned, I mean, Lich and Witch Doctor are support heroes, but you could have gone for, I mean, obviously Earthshaker was picked up early, which is why I think Panda drafted this so well. They picked up that Earthshaker so early, denying that hero from Nirvana. And as far as tanky support heroes go, Earthshaker is one of the few. Tidehunter is there, but Tidehunter has Gush. Earthshaker has Fissure. What would you rather have on your team, a Fissure or a Gush? It goes without saying the Fissure is far more useful. At mid lane, some strategic warding by Panda does get de-warded by the Lich, and Lich is now level 6, so going to be looking to just back up one of their carries or farmers and use that to keep it, sort of maybe create some opportunities for his team to get some kills and basically get some kills, as they do need to sort of come back and get some, basically foil, make Panda waste some time. If they go for a kill and they don't get it and they die, that's a lot of wasted time when they can be farming. And if Void is farming in the meantime, it's a great win situation for them, as we do see Prophet Ulti doing a lot of damage to Void. Prophet Ultimate's one of those things, you have to realize players don't just spam it. They are quite clever when they use it. They're going to use it when heroes on the map. As you saw, that was pretty much the last tick that hit the Void. So Prophet started by targeting at the bottom. It bounced to mid, then it bounced to top, doing maximum damage to Void at the top lane. Meanwhile, bottom, we do see Batrider and Void pick up that kill there with the Void tipping. This is the problem with Clockwork. He's going to get so under-leveled, and as a Clockwork, you can't stay under-leveled. You have to get those levels. So this is, I think I mentioned earlier, players having to take risks. That's one of those sort of necessary risks. It's high risk. There's a very good chance when you're farming sort of away from your tower like out here, you can get ganked. Heroes like Batrider can Firefly over. Void can Time Walk in. It's high risk, but it's a necessary risk, because the gain there is if you don't get ganked, if you can get some free farm, like even just sort of 2 or 3 creep waves of free farm, you get a level and a half, you get your boots gold up, you see vitality booster on Clockwork, you get these kind of items, and suddenly you're in a much better position to have a bigger impact on the mid game. Even if you do end up dying, the fact is he just got a bit of free farm and levels, which will help him in the mid game. And as far as Clockwork is concerned, he didn't want to die there, but it was a trade which was necessary to get those early items and XP. Mid lane, we do see it's Weaver, actually, MU, the one getting picked off in the Void Chronosphere, which is more or less somewhat cocky play from him, being that far up. I definitely think I'm not sure if he thought he could get away from the Void. I mean, Void had just been bottom, so I don't think he was expecting Void to be moving around the map so aggressively. So I can kind of understand why Weaver did that. You have to look at what sense will have when can they actually kill a hero like Weaver. The only way they can do it is with the Void ultimate. Without that, they don't really stand much of a chance. Even if they get Sentry Wards or Dust, Weaver can still backtrack. They haven't really got too many stuns. They've only got the Batrider ultimate to keep Weaver in place. And aside from that, they haven't got a whole lot to actually kill with. And here we see Smoking at bottom will easily take out Clockwork, and Clockwork once again is being punished for his underleveledness, and Weaver going to get immediately spotted in this Sentry Ward, and it's going to backtrack. I think he thought he got maledicted there, so wanted to backtrack it, and was a bit preemptive there with that backtrack. He's still going in, and ES Fissure, the rockets. The Fissure is so useful as well because it provides vision. It makes it so much easier for the Tinker to use those rockets when he gets the vision from from the fissure. So providing the vision for those Tinker rockets makes it this combo with the Earthshaker just so scary. And I think this Void pick is going to be under a lot of pressure. Not so much direct. It's not going to be direct pressure. It's going to be under pressure because of the nature of his support heroes. Witch Doctor, Lich are going to be very limited in what they can do in the mid and late game situations. Nirvana's lineup is too lane oriented. They basically picked heroes around their lanes. They wanted the Lich dual lane at top to deny as much farm as they could from the Weaver. So by denying farm from the main Scourge carry, they thought they could win the lane phase. They thought they could win top lane with their dual lane. They figured they could win bottom lane with the Void Witch Doctor, which I mean they obviously convincingly won bottom lane. Void free farmed, Clockwork has been completely under farmed all game, and mid lane the AA versus Tinker should be fairly even, with AA having a slight advantage. So I mean if you look at lanes alone, Nirvana have a huge advantage, but a draft comes down to more than the lane phases. You can win 3 lanes and still lose the game. With that said, doesn't often happen, or if you win all 3 lanes convincingly, it very rarely happens. But you look at this, they've got great laning heroes, but come mid-game, if you're having sort of bigger clashes, 3v3 clashes, 4v4 clashes, well, what happens then is heroes like Witch Doctor, heroes like Lich become very limited in what they can do. Sure, Lich Ultimate and Witch Doctor Cask are 2 very powerful skills, but in clashes, heroes are going to position well. Weaver can hit and run, can Shikuchi in and out. Earthshaker is never going to be standing next to his allies. He's going to be backing them up, not standing next to them. We do see Weaver manages to backtrack before getting taken out. The Lich Ultimate actually coming quite late. And wow, this is a big fight here, guys. We're going to have to really look at what happened here, as it's once again Nirvana being the aggressors. They're the ones who smoked and looked for kills, but what they weren't looking for is a big team fight. However, they did find it, and it is going to be a 2-for-2 trade so far. Void is going to be forced out, and I think they were just hoping for a couple pickoffs there, but what they found is so far going okay for them. As we do see, their 3 surviving heroes, 2 of them on half HP, are going to back off. They didn't kill the Weaver or the Tinker, but killing everyone else is pretty decent trade for them. They lost the AA and the Lich. As I said, these are 2 squishy heroes which are quite limited in what they can do in this straight on team fight because of positioning. Scourge heroes are going to position themselves well. They're going to have ES just backing up any of the heroes. He's not going to be standing next to anyone. He's just going to be waiting for that perfect fissure. They're going to have Prophet who can TP into the right spot so he isn't standing next to anyone for a Cask or a Chain Frost. Clockwork can obviously hook in. He's going to be the one engaging. You're going to see a Fissure following it up. Other heroes backing him up. But when they say backing him up, it's not going to be Clockwork's hooked in. Let's all run in and focus whoever Clockwork's focusing. That's when you start losing fights. If you run in and start attacking whoever Clockwork hooked, you're going to get Chain Frosted, you're going to get Cast, you're going to just all go down very quickly. It's just going to be a very strategic entry into any sort of fight by Panda where they don't group up and they just create openings. As we do see, wow, Weaver actually has a Relic at 19 minutes, so Vitality Boost and Relic, largely because they pushed down those 2 towers. If they push down this last Tier 1 tower at bottom, that's going to be even more gold and will be a very quick Relic for him. But as said, he's their main character. You're not going to see him getting a Vanguard, a Hood, anything of the sort. He's going to be going straight for that Radiance. That is #1 priority, as he does need to do some more damage. And it's not so much doing more damage, but farming faster. With that Radiance, your next item comes so much quicker because you do farm a lot faster with it. So it's all about sort of the long-term picture where a Weaver, with Radiance alone, is not going to win the game, but with Radiance, Heart, Magistyle, then you can win yourself a game. So the long-term investment is sort of what Weaver is looking at with this item choice. And meanwhile, Prophet going for what I imagine is a Force Staff. It could be a Dagon, yes, I know. It could be even a Yule Scepter, but I'm thinking Force Staff. Especially against a hero like a Void. Yes, you can't Force Staff out of Chrono, but it is just so useful for your positioning against a hero like Void. Not to mention Batrider just being able to force away when he is spamming that sticking napalm on you. Gives you some nice mobility, guys. And we are going to see basically both teams playing it fairly safe at this point. They've had Nirvana have used up 2 of their smokes. That's the other thing we have to look at, is the smokes, which Nirvana have used up 2. They smoke gank bottom twice, so they've got either at most they've got one smoke left at the moment. They may have none, depending on when they did use that other smoke. So they're kind of limiting what they can do. They assume that the map is going to be somewhat watered. They assume that if they are going to be running into fog, they could be running straight into a 5-man trap. And against heroes like Tinker, who is now level 12, who can do some serious burst damage, they don't want to be looking for fights. This is the phase of the game where they're quite happy to just do a bit of farming, catch up on some levels. AA, you can see, get mech up soon at level 11. It gets to a point around 20 to 25 minutes where heroes are about to get their key items up. If they haven't had a great early game, if it's just been an average game for them, which is how you can describe this, or AA's probably had a fairly bad game with 4 deaths, around 20 minutes is when you get those core items up. So the mech on the Ancient Apparition, the Batrider with the Blink Dagger, which is, well, I mean, he's already got that, but maybe Blink Dagger and Hood, or ultimately Pipe, but that's not something you're going to see till about 30 minutes, or probably around the late 20s, depending on how the game progresses, when he's gone for a Blink Dagger first. But then the problem is the Witch Doctor, as well as the Lich, what is a core item for them? They're not actually going to be going for any kind of item. So in these mid to late game fights, it's going to be sort of a... I mean, you have to... Items matter for a lot. I mean, sure, they've got these big spells like Cask and Chain Frost, but when it comes down to it, items are very important. You're going to see ES... not so much as getting items. He's not so much I think he falls into a different category to the Witch Doctor Lich, in that he can just use multiple fissures in one fight, and he's not actually getting into the fight, whereas Witch Doctor and Lich have to get into the fight to use their spells and are somewhat item dependent. You do want Lich to sort of have phase boots and a mech up or something. Although there is someone on their team getting a mech, a Lich with no items is going to be very limited in what he can do. Whereas ES with just the items he has now, Brace and Boots, he can do a lot in a fight. We're going to have a look at the Prophet, and we do see a 4-star in there. That's going to be for the added mobility and positioning. Against, as I said, the Lich and Witch Doctor, if they get a 4-star so that the chain doesn't bounce or the cast doesn't cask, it's going to be pretty ugly for them. I'm going to tell you that now. It's going to be they're not doing they're going to be doing very, very little in any sort of team fight. It's going to be, well, what do they actually contribute to a team fight? All they're going to do is use the cast, use the chain frost, and then get taken out by the fissure at Tinker nukes. And as I said, that fissure giving vision for the Tinker rockets is absolutely huge as well, as he can do that from far away. And we are going to see Weaver with Radiance up. And what have the Central carries got? The Void. That's probably the biggest question at the moment. So Void with B Fury with an Ogre, it's going to be going for a BKB. And it is now the Panda who are being at least temporarily. They're the ones being aggressive. They were on this bottom lane. They had 4, maybe 5, or looking to have 5 heroes at this bottom lane to push it out, maybe put some pressure on this bottom tower. However, they play it smart. As soon as they see 5 Nirvana heroes missing, they say, well, it's not worth it. We may pick a 5v5 fight. It may not go our way. Why waste all this farm at top lane? Weaver, TP top, get some more farm, get that next item up, and that is how they're going to be playing it. They're going to be playing it smart. With that said, they have smoked and will be looking to be somewhat aggressive at the same time, but they're not going to be looking for any sort of big clash. But it may be what they find here, as both teams have in fact smoked. Oh, excuse me guys, I'm a bit tired. Hopefully my brain is still functioning. This analysis is not too horrible. And wow, yes, 4-star. There you go. So 4-star is going to get him away from that AA Cold Feet. He will get taken out actually by a neutral, which is quite costly in terms of gold. Clockwork and Void duke it out a bit, and Void throwing the chrono immediately time walks in, which is going to get him into a very iffy position. But Nirvana dominating this team fight because of the way they had a 5v4 scenario. They had 5 heroes smoked against, I think it was maybe even only 3 heroes smoked going up. And we do see Weaver, however, cleaning up. That is the power of this Weaver Radiance. The Central team just don't have anything to stop a Weaver. They've got the Batrider Lasso, and then after that, it's like that's why I see that. Okay, normally Witch Doctor and Lich, you could maybe fit them onto the same team and be effective, but you're looking at a Weaver with Radiance. What can these heroes actually do to a Weaver? The Chain Frost does nothing to a Weaver. He can Shikuchi away so it doesn't bounce. He can time lapse it. The Maledict as well. Weaver can time lapse it and just shrug it off. And really, none of these heroes with disables, they don't have anything like a Rasta or a Lion or an Earthshaker or something with solid disables of their own to actually beat Weaver with. or some kind of carry that can be. They've got the Void. Void is okay, I want to say. He's not the ideal position. I'd rather see something like an Obsidian Destroyer against the Weaver, because you do end up... I mean, obviously not initially that you can do it. You don't have that Chronosphere where you can actually kill Void early on, but you get a Sheep Stick and then you're doing a lot more damage than the Void to a single target. Obviously it's single target DPS, but when you've got the AA, the Lich ultimates, you're not so much relying on big AoE teamfights. I think Nirvana are overrating this Chronosphere with Chain Frost, sort of Ancient Apparition ultimate combo. It's going to be putting a lot of pressure on Void to hit an ultimate that hits 3, 4, 5 heroes, which is not how Panda. I mean, it's not how they're going to position. Not just because of those. It's not just because they're against the Chronosphere. They're not going to position like that anyways. They've got an Earthshaker. Earthshaker's not going to be sitting next to ally heroes. He's going to be sitting behind them, as mentioned earlier. It's just the way their lineup works. They're not going to group together regardless. So they're going to be relying a lot on this Chronosphere to hit a lot of heroes, and I just don't see it happening. And it's not because Panda are going to be playing so cautiously that they aren't in position to actually come into the fight. They're heroes by nature. The positioning each hero has sort of different positioning. There's heroes like Earthshaker who stay way back looking for that fissure. Same with Clockwork. Clockwork stays way back looking for that hookshot. And then there's heroes who have to be more sort of in the front and standing actually next to ally heroes. But that's not what Panda lineup is about. They're going to also have Force Staff on their Prophet who can TP into any kind of position he wants to be in, so depending on the fight. And as a result, this Chronosphere is going to be very limited in what it can do. Unless Panda make a really big mistake in terms of positioning. With that said, Void is getting more and more farmed. I mean, if he can get farmed enough that he can just take out heroes on his own, then I can see Nirvana with a good chance here. But he is going to be going for a BKB, not a pure DPS build. He does need the survivability. So, who knows what he is in fact capable of, whether he can outcarry or not. We're going to have a look at the CS here, see what we think of that. 166. 4 kills, 4 assists. So Void easily the most farmed here. Not so much, well, maybe not so easily. His team haven't pushed the tower. That is the worry at the moment for Nirvana. If you haven't pushed a tower, that's a lot of global gold, or sort of team gold, that you just haven't acquired. Obviously, it is sort of... think of it like potential energy. It is always there, waiting to be unleashed. Assuming you're in a position where you're going to be winning the game, you have to push those towers. Obviously, you can get stomped and lose the game without taking a tower. It is sort of that potential energy, which you can... It's always going to be there, so you can get it later. You don't have to get it now, but generally speaking, you want to get it as fast as possible. So you can get those core items up as quickly as possible, and then you're fighting with core items that your opponents don't have, and because you're winning those fights, you're getting more items up, and it's just sort of one of those cycles where you do better and better, basically, if you are the aggressors who are pushing more towers, because you just get more gold and more items. And assuming you have the heroes who can use those items, then you're looking good. With that said, I mean, it's kind of thing where if it was the Lich and Witch Doctor getting items, they can't really actually use that gold. So even when they start getting towers, the Lich Witch Doctor won't benefit a whole lot. They're not going to become any more powerful. We may see Lich pick up some treads or something. Maybe one of them's probably going to be going for a Django, but their actual strength is not going to be improving a whole lot. So even when they start pushing towers, it's going to be all about the Void. Right now, it is sort of a 4 protect 1, the 1 being the Void, who they are going to be looking to get very, very farmed. And the way they protect him is they've got sort of 3 basically hard supports now. They've got Witch Doctor, AA, and Lich all being played basically as hard supports. I mean, AA is their solo mid, doesn't have any sort of items apart from the mech. Lich, obviously, nothing. Witch Doctor, probably nothing. No kind of really support items. And as a result, they've got 2 under-farm support heroes and 1 sort of okay farm support hero, the AA, who does have a mech. And that is not a recipe for success, having that many heroes who are sort of support. They've got the Batrider, who's sort of their initiator, tank, however you want to classify him. He's not being played as a support here. When I say support, this AA has actually become a support. There's solo AAs that don't sort of end up being played as a support. They get some items up, they get a lot of levels, but this AA has just been shut down, and that is basically how I have to describe how it's going to be played from here on out. And especially against heroes like this, it's also because of how farmed the opposing carries get. When they get items like Radiance, Treads, and Vitality Booster up this fast, As a solo mid sort of squishy intel hero, that's when you say, well, I don't have anywhere near those kind of items. I don't have anything like a hex so that I can beat this. What do? I maybe have to start buying some wards, helping out wherever I can, backing up my teammates, because this Weaver is just that farm that I need to back them up. And Weaver going to be going for the heart, does buy that Reaver, so Clockwork with an engage, and Lich needs to get off the ultimate. Can he get it off? There it is. It's gonna bounce. It looks like it doesn't actually bounce that far, and Void with the Chrono will take out Weaver. And this is what they're relying on, this Chronosphere to take out any kind of heroes. And here we do see 2, now 3 being taken out as the Earthshaker goes down as well. So a great fight there by Nirvana, and the Chronosphere again working on this. He's really timing those Chronospheres well, because it's hard against the Weaver. Sure, you get vision of Invis in the Chronosphere, but as soon as Weaver pops the Shikuchi, you're not going to be able to Chronosphere directly, or in that millisecond basically. You're going to have to take sort of a half a second or so before you actually Chronosphere, and in that half a second, Weaver could have ran a direction without you realizing it, and your Chronosphere may not be hitting, so it can be tricky. Meanwhile, mid lane we do see BKB as the item of choice on Batrider, so obviously farming well, getting some nice items at 31 minutes. I mean, not huge farm, but is definitely decent seeing a secondary item on Batrider, and a fairly nice one at that. And it looks like this central team are just getting choked with 2 braces. That just spells desperation to me. It's like he knows he's not going to get a whole lot more than that. He knows his job is just to protect this Void. Void, who's getting very farmed, now has BKB and Mask of Madness, so quite a bit of items on him. But is it going to be enough to fight this Scourge team? That is what it's always going to come down to. Weaver with a heart is going to get more and more unkillable for one thing. We're going to see items up on Clockwork now, because he's got level 9, he's got Vanguard, going to have a Hood soon by the looks of it. Earthshaker probably getting a Blink Dagger up soon, actually just his Arcane Boots, but still going to help in the overall global pushing, and just allow his team to basically spam as many spells as they want. Looking at the Prophet, we do see a mech being brought up, so that's where their mech's going to come from. A bit of a disagreement, we want to go mid, but ends up getting tricked into going bottom. And they are waiting on Roshan, so Prophet fires off the ultimate. You have to be careful with that Prophet ultimate, because when you use it, you do pop up for a millisecond on the minimap, so the other team know where you are. He was actually smoke made, so I'm not sure if he did pop up there, because he smoked, but regardless, Sentinel know that Roshan is up. They've actually got a gem, so they're going to be looking to engage on this, and Panda say, well, we send something as up. You've got creeps at this tower, creeps near this tower, and neither lane being defended. That's when you know they are smoked or they are coming for you. You have to run. You run until you see someone defending top, defending mid. Then you turn around and say, alright, one's top, one is mid. At most they have 3. We can fight this. They maybe have... We have 4, we have 5. Even if you have 3 and it's a 3v3, and if you have the right hero combination, you can win that fight. And that is what you're waiting for. But when you have no one defending both either top or middle, it screams 5-man smoke gang. It's basically the only option is that they are grouping as 5. Maybe they are sort of split up around their neutrals, like maybe 1 or 2 people farming Ancient, someone farming else. But there are very, very few options at that point.
A player's forces are under attack.
And I think this Prophet will be key. He's going to keep all these lanes pushed out and pick up some nice tower gold for his teammates as well, as he's taking this tier 2 top tower and will be just doing his thing, farming away, going back to Roche now. So they are not wasting any time. As soon as they feel it's safe, they feel that Nirvana have just backed off, they say, hey, let's go give it another shot. Have they got the wards? They got 1 sentry. That's all they've got, and they've got. Oh, sorry, not all they've got. I spoke too soon, unfortunately. They've got another sentry, but the gem is going to help them. The Sentinel team, at least, D-Ward, fairly easy there, and not allow him to be directly involved with the side, apparently. I do apologize, guys. I'm getting more and more tired. I'm talking absolute crap at times, I feel. Hopefully some of this analysis is actually making sense to some of you. But yeah, Nirvana reached this sort of stalemate point. They're going to be just farming neutrals together. But what they do have to worry about is what the hell is going on top. Tinker and Prophet just playing so aggressive, doing damage to the tier 3 tower. And why can they do that? Because of Roche. This Weaver is going to be hitting and running on Roshan, basically forcing them to TP top. This is just so cruel. Both Tinker and Prophet can TP anywhere on the map pretty much at any time. They're going to force heroes to come back and defend top lane. As soon as they defend top lane, guess what? They can take Roshan. So it's basically a defend top or defend Roshan. When it comes down to it, your Rax is more important than Roshan. And at this point, WE are going to have to accept the fact their next fight is going to be up against a team with Aegis. So we're going to see a Aegis on Weaver or possibly Prophet. Although we're actually going to see a Batrider engage, and this is a 3v5 as Lich isn't there. Neither is Teal, who's actually at top, which is someone. And the Central team take out 2 in a 3v5 scenario. That was actually the Ancient Apparition. So Ancient Apparition wasn't there, but he can still use that ultimate anywhere. And we do see the Void just getting so farmed, picking up 3 kills on his own. But Weaver retaliate. I feel like every fight is Weaver getting 3 or 4 kills, Void getting maybe a couple, but that fight obviously getting more than a couple. But Void, the only one who seems able to do anything. His teammates are just food at the moment, which is a bit of a worry. I mean, sure the Weaver, his teammates aren't the most tanky things, but they've got some useful skills. The Fissure, which will just still be so useful even in the late game. Adding on to that, Clockwork with the hook shot. He's going to be having a pipe up fairly soon. It's going to get more and more devastating, I feel, as they do get more core items up. Whereas what are Nirvana looking for? They're looking for those luxury items. Those luxury items on the Void specifically. And if they do get those, maybe they can pick a fight and look to sort of turn the I can't even use my words. Flip the scales, turn the tides, and get some advantage headed their way. As we are going to see mid Witch Doctor. This is the Witch Doctor who, what can he do at this point in the game? He can maybe help farm some creeps, spam cask on creeps, but he's somewhat useless. And looking at bottom lane, Void getting more and more farmed, and not sure if that's something they should be worried about. We are going to see Void with 2.4k gold. Is going to be keeping buyback gold from here on out, I believe. And top lane being defended. So 40 minutes in here, guys. This is fairly long, even for a Chinese replay. And a bit of turtling involved, but that's what happens when there's a lot at stake. This is a semi-final, guys. So a lot at stake and not wanting to give up anything at all. And we're going to see what looks to be a neutral farming going on from the Scourge team, as we see Weaver doing his bit. Does have the Heart as well as Talisman of Evasion, so you're going to be going for what looks to be a Butterfly, although he could just be getting it for that evasion. It's a starter, it's not bad, but on its own it just fills up a slot with a decent item which you don't really want to keep because it's not great. But the Butterfly, which you do need Talisman of Evasion for, is an awesome item, so you're going to be seeing that coming out. But obviously the Talisman of Evasion is a bit more useful than the Quarterstaff, and if you can't save for that Eagle Song, sometimes you just want to use that gold so you don't lose it. And that is partly why we are going to see that picked up fairly early, as we do see ES with a gem of his own by the looks of it, going to be doing some de-warding.
A player's forces are under attack.
Mid lane. Prophet just lurking about. And Clockwork ES, the two sort of range stunners. Clockwork with the hookshot obviously has to follow it up and go in himself. ES with the Fissure. need to sort of look for someone to back up. They're going to have to try and anticipate where the next Nirvana movement is going to come from, where it's going to be headed, and then they need to be there. They need to basically think 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of the Pugna, and basically use that to know what their kind of viewer database is like, where they're from. As we do see Weaver picking up a DD rune at bottom. Well, leaving it there for now at least. Maybe trying to leave it for the Tinker who does have that bottle. But obviously Tinker not going to be focusing more on tipping around to lanes, and Weaver actually just going to be leaving it to pick up later.